were trained by your father and obviously other teachers and coaches, but I'm going to ask you questions that I probably had before. I never asked you. I heard that you
Mm.
really were like overworked. That you that's really. I'm assuming he wants the best for you, but do you felt at some point that was a little bit too much?
Yeah, for sure. I think the way my father trained me was one of the hardest things in my life, abusive, causing emotional and psychological damage. But I also feel that it's because of that pressure he put on me that I achieved success in the field. When I was younger, I used to get spanked a little bit. And then at a certain point, my dad stopped that. And instead of getting spanked, I got physical punishments where I would have to run. Oh, so it would be laps around the track. It would just be laps and laps. So instead of spanking, he'd be like, all right, we're going to go to the track. So his concept was, I'm going to exhaust him in something that's physically good for him. But one night it was snowing and he was in the car with the heat and I was just running around in the snow and I fell asleep so dead tired. And he had to pick me up and put me in the car and, did you learn your lesson? I never learned my lesson.
How old were you?
13, 12. A lot of parents aren't invested in their child's life. A lot of parents have their jobs and then their children have their schoolwork or have their dance classes or their sports classes or academic class. And there's a big disconnect between a child and their parent. My upbringing was the complete opposite. My father was there 24/7 and always pushing me. So he loved me the best he can. And I tried my best to be, the best son I could and to, be the best he wanted me to be. He was always what I found out later in life, he was always very proud of me. He always enjoyed my success and was very bragging to other parents and very supportive, but he never showed it to me. So I always saw that he was unhappy and that there was always more that I could be doing, and I was never enough. But I didn't know until much later that I was enough, and that was just his way of showing love and his way of pushing me and challenging me. And again, it paid off. I'm not complaining. It just came at a huge emotional toil. But I bought my first house when I was 17, but I also had a lot of mental breaks, not to laugh at it, but yeah.
I want to go a little bit personal if you allow me to. Please be
Bring it on.
There was a situation, of course, it is on the news. The news says that you have a little bit of they found out that you have a bipolar disease and things like that.
Again, I
so
think
how are you doing with that? Is that a fact? And
I think my suffering or my illness of bipolar disorder is something I first experienced at 18 when I first had a psychotic break. And, there's no preparation or books you can read to help you with that. And it takes many years to figure out what's happening. And it requires medication, it requires a support structure, and it requires a lot to put the pieces back together. Most of my failures or pains in life have stemmed from my mental disorder, my inability to make amends with it and to stay on a healthy routine. I never wanted to take my medication. I never wanted to admit that I was sick. I never wanted to, admit that reality or truth. I wanted to think I was able to control it. I was able to be a superhero in my own mind without any exterior support, such as medication. But I think a lot of this creates bad judgment. And a lot of my friendships, family issues have all been surrounded in this. At the same time, I think a lot of my success and my quest to want to do another performance and to get better technique is also part of why I think I was very successful, or I'm successful. And I think at the same time, it came at a huge expense of suffering, personal suffering and emotional suffering for my friends. So when someone writes that, about this illness without having a conversation with me about it, that's fine. You know, it's medical record, it's history. I'm not denying it, but I don't know what their thoughts on it are. I don't know where they're coming from. It's easy to hold someone's negative actions against them, and I don't take I take full responsibility for my actions. But for someone to write something or pass judgment or to say something without being fully aware of the circumstances, you know,
Yeah.
it's biased, and that's okay. They can, you know, if I have a bad performance, you don't know that I have a knee injury. Maybe I tore my Achilles. You don't know that. You're buying the ticket and you expect to see perfect. You don't know my personal situation. So when you choose to write, Israel did a bad performance, or, you know, Rasta did something crazy, yeah, fine. I did, but you don't know what led up to that. You're not in my shoes, and you didn't ask me about it.
And how you going with that at this point? How you doing? Have you
Life's good. Life's
confronted
good.
them?
Life is good. I think I a lot, being bipolar, or having an illness of this sort, causes you to think a lot. It causes you to really come to peace with who you are, or else it will keep eating at you, because the extremes are so high and low. And I'm very content, which is something that took me a long time to get to. I'm slightly sad that I didn't have a better understanding emotionally and spiritually of this mental illness while I was actively dancing, because I think I would have
I
it would have
never
added
knew.
it would have added another dimension, I think, to my artistry.
Yeah.
Um,
I never knew that, Rust. I never ever. Every time I saw you, I never thought about that. You know, and I can't imagine from a person like you
yeah.
that going through this is how hard it can be. You know.
It's very hard for me to read and understand what's in your mind, and you know, the mind is a very personal thing, and some people just don't have a foundation, a solid foundation to process reality. In my
Mm.
situation, or and
Russ,
yeah, but
when is the time that you should stop dancing?
ooh, when you stop hearing this, you know, some people can. The thing is, you should never stop dancing. Just like, it's like saying who should dance. Everyone should dance. When you should stop dancing? Never. Will dance pay you? Maybe. Will dance stop paying you? Maybe. You have to live with yourself. You have to look in the mirror and you have to say, you know, I had a great career, or I'm fine ending on this high note. It all depends on how you identify yourself. If the injuries and the pain isn't there, keep going.
I'm
Keep
t-
going.
and
But if the pain is unbearable and the joy and the love isn't the same, then, you know, you should think about expressing yourself differently.